I would like to call the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Des Moines Public Schools to order for September 18th, 2018. Please take the roll.
Natasha Newcomb.
Here.
Ms. Della Gardell Shelley.
Here.
Ms. Langford.
Here.
Ms. Caldwell Johnson.
Here.
Ms. Ellsburn.
Here.
Ms. Anderson. Mr. Barron.
Hopefully he'll be arriving shortly. And since I wasn't at the last meeting, is that the first time that new intro has been showed, or
No,
did they
it's the
show?
second time.
The second time? Okay, all right, so I don't need to say anything about it, but I do like it. It's awesome. So, at any rate, thanks to Phil and his team for doing that. The first item is the approval of the agenda. Are there any special requests to pull any items from the consent? Hearing none, may I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from De La Gardelle Shelley and a second from Ellsburn. Please vote. Motion passes 6-0. The next item of business on our agenda this evening is approval of the minutes. May I have a motion and a second to approve the September 4th, 2018 minutes?
We'll move approval.
We have a motion from Ellsburn and a second from Natasha Newcomb. Any discussion or corrections? I was not at that meeting, so I will be abstaining for this vote, but I would encourage everybody else to vote. We do have a motion and a second. Motion carries 6 yes, 1 abstention. The next item on our agenda this evening is our consent. So before continuing with our regular meeting, I want to remind everyone in the audience that we allow any person the opportunity to speak to the board for 5 minutes following the presentation of an agenda item. If anyone wishes to speak to an agenda item, please go to the information table to sign up. Remarks must be germane to the agenda, and we ask that you avoid reference to personalities and character attacks, as those types of comments serve no productive purpose. As a reminder to the board and public, the board will not engage in discussion or deliberation with the speaker regarding comments made to an agenda item. Discussion and deliberation will remain among the board members at the board table, with speakers' comments informing said discussion, deliberation, and determination as deemed necessary. We appreciate your input. Ms. Anderson, I believe that you have the consent motion.
All right. I move that the board approve the consent items in accordance with the recommended action for each item on the consent agenda, including bills previously authorized, certified, and approved for payment by the board secretary in the amount of $8,792,237.13, and procurement cards and transactions in the amount of $506,816.67.
We have a motion from Anderson. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on any of our consent items this evening? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes 7-0. The next item on our agenda is a public hearing, and I will call the public hearing to order on item number D1. Is there anyone wishing to speak to this item? Superintendent Ahart, would you please introduce the matter?
I recommend the board review the proposed plans and specifications prepared by Angelo Architectural Associates for a gym and music room addition to Howe Elementary School, hold a public hearing, and approve the plans.
Good evening. My name is Jill Burke, and I'm the principal currently at Howe Elementary. This is starting my 6th year, and I'm here to share with you the excitement we are looking forward to is adding the addition of the Howe Gymnasium and Music Room. We have waited for this for some time, so it's with great honor I'm going to introduce Mark Thiessen as from Angelo Architectural Associates to share a little bit more about what that will look like.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Angelo Architectural Associates, we would like to greatly thank the board for the business that you afforded us, and we very much enjoy working with the district. You have a great staff, and we thoroughly enjoy that, so thank you. Let's see. There we go. What you'll see before you now is a kind of a zoomed-in site plan. The gray area indicates the existing Howell Elementary School. The green area is the proposed new gym addition, which also does combine a new music room. In doing so, we are also locating the two playgrounds, and one is the pink and the other the light blue area. Jill has kind of two age groups that she likes to have a couple of separate areas. I should have informed you to give you better orientation. Towards the north here is Indianola Avenue, which is the formal front of the school, and then off on 7th Street is the main exit here. And you can see the playground to the side and then our drop-off lane. The main entrance to the school is right where the cursor is pointing, and then the new addition entrance is right in this area. We show you this slide. Normally we don't show you this slide, but we had the good fortune to restore this building about 3 years ago and cut all the mortar out, and we take great pride in that. We do like that work, and we work with the staff on that. But we think this is a very classy structure and well worth taking note of. And so we've taken our cues from that building, and we are using the same matching brick. You'll see the lighter areas on the building will be limestone. We do not have a great deal of limestone, but just enough to accent it and kind of tie in the new to the old, which we think is important on this project. This is the south-facing facade of the gym, and we're bringing in some natural light into the gym through kind of a large bay window. And then the elevation in the middle below that shows the new entrance, and once you go in, you can go right to the gymnasium, or you can go left into the new commons area, or into the music room. The lower elevation shows more of the east elevation, which and a little bit of the north elevation, which you get just a slight glimpse of off of Indianola Avenue. The floor plan here kind of picks up on the colors that we had before. The green represents the gymnasium, and then you'll see I guess it depends on, I called it lavender, but the music classroom, which does have a large opening to the gymnasium for some productions. And the gray area off to the side over here is the existing school. There's currently a door there. We're going to just remove the existing door, put a new door there with some magnetic hold opens, and open up this commons area. Two very nice large restrooms, and then our support mechanical, electrical areas. We have a gym office area that can be obtained from either side. And you'll also see this is the new entry where you can go right into the gym or left into the new commons and down to the existing school area. You can see the new office that you constructed a couple years ago. That is right here. Jill sits just beyond the arrow here, and the doors. Next. Let's see. Maybe that's it, Bill. Is that all I have? Yeah. All right. Thank you.
I'll let you run that. To speak to some of the highlights of the project would be the advantage of the separate gym and cafeteria. Right now at this time, we have a shared area for serving lunch and serving breakfast, as well as gym. And at this time, we bring in carts throughout our gym day. We have food being delivered. There's one door that comes into the gym. So as you can imagine, the PE teacher often is being interrupted by bringing those materials in so we can serve lunch at a correct time, as well as kind of having to utilize a different schedule so we can make sure that we have enough time in the lunchroom. Plus, getting our PE physical education time has been a little bit challenging, and so that will definitely open up that opportunity. We have never had a music room at Howe. In fact, up until last year, we shared music and PE. So a lot of times music would have to go on a cart or art would have to go on a cart. And we know that that's no fun for any teacher, and it's not good for kids. So having a set area for our kids to come and follow every single time will be very beneficial to both our art and music teachers, and it shows that we value the fine arts as well too. So mainly just the flexibility of the scheduling. Howe has waited quite a while for this, and actually, if approved tonight, next year, Howe will be 100 years old. So we'd be able to open up the gym and have a new facelift and just some great things for the community and the students at Howe. So it'd be 100 years on 2019. So I'll let you speak to the.
Thank you. Again, this is our construction timeline, preliminary plans which were presented to you on September 4th. Tonight we're here with the final plans. If approved, we'll look at spring 2019 construction and completion on August 15th, which is often a very familiar day in our construction world, right before school starts. This is a estimated $3 million project that was funded by a statewide penny. So with that, and for Howie the Hawk, if there's any questions or comments that you might have, we'd certainly answer those.
Any board questions? Yes, Ms. Anderson.
Yeah, when I was looking at the map, is the door going into the gymnasium, is that in the front, near the front exit as well?
Yes.
Is there parking nearby? I just wondered how easy it would be for.
I click back, maybe.
Yes, it's actually where you'll enter into the gym area. That is our main parking area
Oh,
for
okay.
all parents, and the staff parking lot is actually on the north side of the building, closest to Indianola Ave. So most parents usually, when they enter the school, are parking on that side. That's where our handicap areas are as well.
Okay, great, thanks.
Other questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion and a second to approve the Howe Elementary School Improvement Project.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Ellsburn and a second from Langford. Are there any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, please vote. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you for being here.
Can I just make one quick comment? Howe, under Ms. Burke's leadership, was one of the first schools for rigor. We had 4 elementaries in that first year, so they're now in year 3 of school for rigor. And Howe, if any school is leading the way for our elementaries. What this is, they've been doing that. If you visit Howe, we have kids and staff shoehorned into every corner of every available space at every moment of the day. So this is really going to increase opportunities for a team that's already doing everything they can with what they have. So this feels really good.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for being here. The next public hearing is item number D2, a public hearing on an addition and renovation at Studebaker Elementary School. I believe we have a presentation. So while we're getting that set up, I'll ask the superintendent to please introduce the matter.
We do a motion first, or no?
Nope, you go first.
I recommend that the board approve the proposed plans and specifications prepared by Envision Architects and Engineers for an addition and renovation to Studebaker Elementary School and hold a public hearing and approve the plans.
Is there anyone wishing to speak to this item? Hearing no one, the superintendent has already introduced it, so we'll go to the presentation. Actually, we will not go to the presentation. We'll ask the board for a motion and a second, then we'll go to the presentation. Totally out of sequence tonight.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Barron and a second from Ellsburn. We will now go to the presentation, and then we'll come back for the vote.
Good evening. My name is Brian Crook. I am the principal at Studebaker Elementary, and I'm here to speak to the excitement of the renovation and addition to Studebaker Elementary. But first, I'd like to introduce Laura Peterson. She is going to share a little bit more about the plans. She was the director of those plans.
First, I'd like to start by thanking the board for allowing Envision to be a part of such a project that has a great impact on students. It's something that we're really proud to be a part of, and I've really enjoyed the process with your staff. So first, just an overall site plan. To the bottom here, this is south, you'll see County Line Road, the main kind of drive next to Studebaker Elementary. Here on the east is the existing parking lot. And then Right here, you'll see the existing entrance. None of that is changing with the project. Here in gray is the existing school. And then our proposed addition is here to the west, and that addition will house a new gym and 4 additional classrooms, as well as a Boys and Girls Club, which you're seeing here in orange. There is some rework to the site here on the west with the playgrounds. Sorry, I lost my cursor. So you'll see some rework here, just because we're displacing a playground with a new addition. Here on the south, there's an existing bus lane. We'll just be expanding that and adding some additional parking for the Boys and Girls Club. Within the existing building, the existing gymnasium will be renovated into a solely cafeteria space, and then the existing cafeteria renovated into a dedicated kitchen space. Here's the plan for the addition portion. What you're seeing here in gray is the existing classrooms in the existing building. 2 new 2nd grade classrooms, and then 2 new 5th grade classrooms here to the north. New gymnasium space, as well as support with the storage and office space. New restrooms. And then the Boys and Girls Club space here to the south. Part of this project will also enclose some of the space that's currently exterior, make a courtyard space. Here's the view from County Line Road. So what you're seeing from this point to the right is the existing Studebaker Elementary School, and then here to the left is new. So here's classroom space. You'll see here is the Boys and Girls Club, and then here kind of in the distance is the gymnasium. Just another view of the same information. So here's the view from County Line again, existing to the right, and the addition to the left with the gym and the Boys and Girls Club. And then here you're seeing it from the north side. So here's the new 5th grade classrooms and a new entrance, as well as gymnasium. And we just have some 3D views of that entrance. So here's the new Boys and Girls Club entrance, Boys and Girls Club, and the gym. And then from the other side, same view.
Okay, if I could go ahead and speak to some of the highlights of the project and the advantages. We currently do have a separate gymnasium and a cafeteria. However, our cafeteria has been needing improvement, needing to be enlarged for the past several years, and it's going to be a tremendous benefit to our students in terms of spacing, in terms of being able to house and possibly capture more academic time, just due to being able to have more overlap of the students being in there and not being so close and so tight. So that's going to be, that's going to be a huge benefit to our students. 4-section building. We're going to be a 4-section building all the way across. We'll have that capability. Currently, we're 3 and 4 in some areas, and our students, as Dr. Ahar has spoken to it, from how is our school is growing as well, and we need that space for our students as well. So an enclosed courtyard, a great opportunity for our students to get outside in an enclosed area, get some fresh air, do some reading out there, sometimes eat out there, picnic style things like that that our teachers like to do with our students. Improve student flow. Currently, all of our extended core, which is art, music, and PE, are located on the north side of the building. So just the traffic flow of 3 classes going at the same time, 3 classes are coming. It creates a pretty crowded hallway, some congestion there. So that's going to be a major improvement as well. So there are a lot of benefits to it. We're going to be able to recapture some of our space for special education use, for and for intervention space and those types of things as well. So thank you for considering it, and we're looking forward to, if this passes, looking forward to moving on to the next steps for Studebaker.
I think he underestimated or understated the cafeteria at Studebaker, which is extremely small. Yes.
I'm just kidding.
So this is going to be a great improvement for kids at lunchtime and for multipurpose reasons. Again, preliminary plans came to you on August 14th, and final plans tonight. Construction starting on spring 2019, and completion hopefully August 15th of 2019. The project budget is $3.1 million, and that's from statewide penny. And the Boys and Girls Club edition is funded by the Boys and Girls Club. Current estimate is $850,000, and that will be bid as a bid alternate. So they will ultimately be the one to determine whether that is going to be built. We will have the funds in hand prior to any work there, as we would with any of our other projects. But again, that the outcome of that will be in their responsibility. So with that, if there's any questions or comments.
Any board questions or comments? Yes, Ms. Langford.
I think I heard you mention that there was a playground that was displaced in the renovation process, and I was just wondering, are there alternate play spaces with the removal of that playground?
There is some existing blacktop that is where the addition is going, and so we're just replicating that same amount of square footage now to the west of the playground, or west of the addition, so there'll be the same amount of playground space as there is now.
So are you all building another playground, or is it just kind
Yes.
of gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious. Thank you.
I just want to, if I could make a note too, Brian has been reconfiguring where his staff is and where his students are going every year, and you know, at an expense to the quality of education that we can provide for the students. So this is a much needed addition. And if you recall too, where those playgrounds are, if you go just a little bit further west, there's a significant chunk of land that's currently has single-family housing going up between Studebaker and Macomb. So we anticipate continued growth in that area, and we, as we've really worked hard over the last 5 years trying to capture enough space in each of our schools so that everybody has space at their neighborhood school. We've been behind there at Studebaker, so we want to make sure that we continue to build community there and keep all of our families as close to keep the school as close to the families as possible. So I appreciate your patience with that, Mr. Crook.
Absolutely.
Yes, Ms. Langford.
I do have one more additional question, and that was, I saw in the far corner by the new kitchen renovations that the Boys and Girls Club also has like a kitchen space. Is that something that is included on there, and in terms of are they paying for that essentially as well?
Yeah, if this were all to be built and that space would be dedicated to them, they would be paying lease costs for all of that space, even after they've purchased determined that the addition would go in. They would still pay additional lease costs for the addition plus that other alternative space. They like a direct relationship to the cafeteria, and so they have a lot of things that they would store
Snacks
adjacent
and
to
that sort of
that
thing.
cafeteria.
I'm just curious. Thank you.
Additional questions? Yes, Mr. Barron.
It just brings to mind, and I think it's if the board agrees, it'd be a request for further information from Dr. Ahart. Is there maybe just a check-in on what the strategy is, or a long-term vision for working with Boys and Girls Club, where they're located?
Mm-hmm.
Do we follow
Yes,
a
there
typical procedure in partnering with them, with funding construction of Boys and Girls Clubs when they're attached to our buildings? Sometime in the future, I think it'd be nice to just kind of get a global view of where that partnership sits.
A couple years ago, they came and did a presentation on how they were expanding, utilizing feeder patterns, but maybe getting an update from Jody Worth and their board president would be helpful.
I think so.
Great. Okay. It's probably before you came on the board, so. Yeah, all right, all right. So we'll make sure that we get that taken care of. Any other board questions or comments? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second to approve the addition and renovation at Studebaker Elementary. Please vote. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Brian.
And our next agenda item is item number E1. And this is on eminent domain. at 1416 Fremont Street, Des Moines, Iowa. I'd ask the superintendent to please introduce the matter.
Yes, we've been working for over 3 years now with the owners of the one remaining residential property in the, if you can picture the large tract of land that's south of East University, directly south of Hyatt Middle School, and that continues all the way to Walker Street, directly north of the Walker Street building. Fremont Avenue extends from Northeast 14th into that property for, I think, the equivalent of about 2 blocks. What we've been attempting to do is to capture that land in a contiguous fashion and enable us to do a number of things, reconfigure the student space available in that large tract of land, which is essentially everything west of Williams Stadium at East. It already contains some practice fields and tennis courts and so forth, but we had an interruption to that, to the continuous flow of that property. So we've accomplished everything except for this one remaining vacant property. Even if we didn't have designs, I was explaining this to Ms. Delagardelle-Shelley earlier today, even if we didn't have designs for a specific use, it's nice to get vacant properties out of easy access to our students because that's a recipe for mischief, if I can put that gently. But we also have pressing need for additional staff parking at Hyatt Middle School, which is directly across the street, as well as increased needs for activity space for students at both Hyatt and at East. So over a long course of time now, over 3 years, we've really tried to bend over backwards to accommodate the owners of this property. A number of issues continue to crop up. We've tried to navigate around all of those. As it stands now, the only way to move forward with acquisition of this property is through eminent domain. The owners will receive fair market value for this property, and if we don't take this step, likely that property is going to sit there probably for a long time into the future with no use coming from it. So,
Thank you. I don't believe we have any other speakers on this item, so may I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution authorizing consideration of acquisition of real estate and the potential use of power of eminent domain for 1416 Fremont Street for an extension of the East High School practice fields.
I'll move approval.
And I'll second.
We have a motion from Barron and a second from Ellsburn. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes 7-0. The next item on our agenda is also associated with the 1416 Fremont Street property. This is to establish just compensation for the acquisition. Anything additional, Superintendent Ahart?
no.
Okay. May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution establishing just compensation value in the amount of $8,500 for the 1416 Fremont Street property for the expansion of recreational practice area at East High School?
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Barron and a second from De La Gardelle-Shelley. Are there any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes 7-0. The next item on our agenda is item number E3, open enrollment late applications for denial. Superintendent Ahart, would you please introduce the matter?
Yes, per state code, we review all open enrollment requests. Those that come in timely go through the standard process, and those that do not meet the standard or the diversity plan of the district are denied. These denials can be appealed. So if those that are being denied decide to appeal, they can come forward with justified cause for an appeal of this decision. I would make a note that there are 2 cases on your docket tonight. One of those is for Clayton Ridge, which is one of the 2 state-approved online academies. We now can offer that same service through Des Moines Public Schools at much higher quality and with much more personal service. So I feel very confident that we'll be providing appropriate accommodations for the students who are applying for OE.
Great. May I have a motion and a second to deny the open enrollment late applications for denial? Have a motion from Anderson, second? Second from Langford. Are there any additional comments or questions on the open enrollment late applications for denial? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes 7-0. That concludes our regular agenda, and we do have a few items of privilege. We'll go first to the chair's report, and I know that there are several board members that have a few things that they would like to share. I'd like to read a statement on behalf of the board. In the past couple of weeks, there have been a few senseless acts initiated by a handful of people, which unfortunately, in the eyes of some in the public and through the lens of the media, define our schools in this district. At Hoover, gunshots at a nearby city parking lot caused the abrupt end of a football game between Hoover and North. At North, a nearby road rage incident last Thursday led to an external lockdown to the school with no change or interruption of the classes and activities taking place inside the school. And at East, just this week, a student with a handgun in their backpack was stopped before entering the school thanks to a tip provided to the school resource officer, and again, with no interruption of classes inside East High School. In each case, a great deal of credit is due to our staff, our school resource officers, and the Des Moines Police Department for their quick reaction and appropriate response in keeping people safe and, more often than not, continuing on with the school day. While there should be no tolerance for violence of any kind at a school, we should also not tolerate or accept the notion that a school or a district is defined by the act of any single individual or group. Each day, between our students and staff, nearly 40,000 people are a part of Des Moines Public Schools. To put that into perspective, if DMPS were a city, we'd be the 12th largest city in the state of Iowa. A few individuals don't define a city, and they certainly do not define our students, our schools, or our district. It is clear from the actions following each of these unfortunate incidences that our schools do not let these things define them. By example, Hoover was back on the field last Friday and selling T-shirts at their game that read, "Peace, Love, Hoover." At North, past, present, and future students were out on the streets the very afternoon following the incident to celebrate their school and community in their annual homecoming parade. And just last night, a gentleman, and I'll read his name, Joe Nolte, wrote me to say that the TV cameras left East High at the wrong time. While they chose to highlight one student and his crazed actions, they ignored the hundreds of students receiving academic honors at the school last evening. He went on to say how proud he was of the students who spoke up, the officer who diffused the situation, and all of the awesome teachers and students who are fantastic at East High each and every day. I'd now like to take just a moment to address Mr. DeVore's comments. From the preceding comments, I think that you understand that, unfortunately, as much as we would like to control the narrative and the message, it's really outside of the realm of possibility for us to do that. I am not sure why KCCI chose to change their story, but I am quite sure that a call to them might help clarify their actions and their decision. The superintendent and his staff are best positioned to discuss our protocols for safety for events, and I will ask him in just a very short moment to address that particular part of your question and anything else relative to the incidents at Hoover East and North High Schools. I have to tell you that this has been a crazy few weeks, not anything that anybody would have expected or imagined, but it happens. And I believe that we acted judiciously. I am so proud of not only the staff and also the relationship that we have with Des Moines PD and our resource officers, but I'm particularly proud of our students who oftentimes have to bear the brunt of a few people's actions when it's really not their fault. So that being said, I love Des Moines Public Schools, and I know the rest of my board colleagues do as well, and we're proud of all of the work that we do in our school district each and every day, despite these senseless acts. So I'll turn it over to the superintendent, and then I believe Mr. Barron has something to share. Anybody else? Okay.
All right, I just have a few notes to make regarding the Hoover North game. There were only about 2 minutes left in the game. One of the options to actually have that game count is to gather the teams back together with, as much as we can, the same officiating crew, which at first blush seems like a silly idea. A lot of expense, a lot of time and trouble, but the teams at Hoover and North are working together to make that a statement moment. So we don't have the details on that yet, but I will be hopefully sharing that with you, hopefully by the end of the week. So we can have the message, much like Ms. Caldwell-Johnson shared about Hoover and how they responded, as our district response, so that we don't let the bad actions of a very small minority of our community become the picture that people have in their heads of what our students are about, what our staff do each and every day, and what our district stands for. A couple of other notes. Transportation, as was shared with a note that Ms. Caldwell-Johnson read in the absence of somebody who wanted to speak here, one of our parents. We are desperately in need of bus drivers. I was at a superintendent's advisory committee meeting today at the Department of Education, and that is the case across the state. There wasn't a single superintendent there who is not sharing the same challenge. So it is a great opportunity for the right person, and we need all the help that we can get to ensure that we get all of our students to school on time and home safely. The bargaining units in our school district, the largest being the Des Moines Education Association, which represents our teachers and our clerical staff and our teacher associates, and the AFSCME unit, which represents our transportation department, some of all of our custodians, our food service, and some of our technology staff. Will be holding recertification votes this fall, just in about a month and a half or so. I just want to put a shout out to everybody, whether they belong to those unions or are just represented by them, to pay attention to the messaging. They'll get some from me in the upcoming weeks, and they'll be receiving some from their employee representatives for those respective unions. And to please pay attention and vote. Okay, this is really important. There have been dramatic changes to collective bargaining laws in the state of Iowa, but that does not mean that it's not still vitally important to the health and well-being of our district and the conditions under which our employees work. So please actively participate and have your voice count in who represents you at the bargaining table in your labor agreements. And then finally, this is a shout out, thank you, Doug. Finally, this is a shout out to Governor Reynolds and to Mr. Hubble, who are both the leading candidates for governor in the state of Iowa in the upcoming election in November. We have a serious proposal on the table for both campaigns to engage in the country's first student-driven town hall debate, the first of that at the gubernatorial level, at any rate, in the nation. That's being organized by Fez Zaffer, a Roosevelt Jr., with the support of some of his fellow students and administrative staff. We've been pressing very, very hard on both campaigns. We've not gotten the affirmative or even down to when we can set a date, but we're dead serious about doing this. We would have representatives from high schools around the state as well as colleges and universities from around the state. And it's really, I think it's vitally important that we engage our youngest voters and those that can vote soon to get their voices in the room and to understand the issues that are most impacting the youth in our communities and across our state. So this is just an urgent plea to both campaigns to get the side issues out of the way, and let's get down to focusing on what's most important, and those are our children. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Ahart. Mr. Barron?
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to speak. This Saturday is a very special event. The Des Moines Public Schools Foundation, which raises money that supports a lot of our arts programming, is having a major fundraiser called Coming Home 2. And it's called Coming Home because it is an opportunity for DMPS alumni to come back and share their gifts. And so we'll have many talented musicians and artists in the room. And it's going to be a very great night. It's this Saturday from 6:30 to 10:30 at the Embassy Club at the top of the Ruan building. There will be a live and silent auction in addition to much good music and fun. And all of the proceeds go to support our foundation, which is so vital to making a lot of opportunities extracurricularly for our students in the arts, especially in the music program. So I really hope that my colleagues are able to attend and support this event, and that the folks who are watching this at home are also aware and invited to get their tickets. There is an event on Facebook for this, which will link you to the platform to buy the ticket. You can also Google the Des Moines Public Schools Foundation, which now has an active website as of about 5 days ago. And there should be a live portal to buy tickets on that as well. And if you have any trouble with either of those, then call me.
Perfect.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Just another note, I wanted to announce that I will be absent for the next couple of board meetings. So my very capable Vice Chair, Cindy Ellsburn, will be conducting the meetings. I'm actually, for one of the meetings, out of the country on international travel, and for the second, just received notification from the Bloomberg Philanthropies that Des Moines and Polk County have been selected to receive a grant to establish a financial empowerment center here in Des Moines. And so I'll be heading to New York for training for the grant opportunity. So really looking forward to that as well. So Cindy, you got to hold down the fort for 2 meetings. I think you can handle that. Great. With no other business, we are adjourned, and we will make ready for our upcoming work session. Thank you.